I am the reason why January 6th took place the way it did.
It was horrible. You should be
Enrique
in jail
Tario.
for that.
Well,
That's
You should
Nancy
be in
Pelosi
jail.
did
No,
that.
she did not.
Nancy,
It
no,
was
Nancy,
Trump who
no.
called
She
out
did
against
that
Trump.
because she didn't
It is
want.
Trump who's now pardoned
I am the
these
root
violent
cause of
criminals.
all of it,
What was
ma'am.
your name again?
Ivan Raikkonen. You can look it up.
You should be in jail.
I should be in jail for
Nancy
communicating
Pelosi
a
did say
lawful
she
plan to
steal the
stop a
election.
stolen
There
election.
was no steal.
39
No, there was.
states.
She stole the plan.
39
46.
states ran their elections under COVID measures, which
46.
violated the federal
It did
constitution.
not. There were
39 out of 50
46
states did.
trials, federal trials, 46 of
And
them
this is how it
found
worked.
no evidence. There was in what was state Arizona.
39
they set up
states.
their own independent
that's-
Republican committee.
Okay.
to
There's
look
other
into
ways
the
to
So how
steal the
about this?
election. Those aren't the ways they
Would
stole
you
it.
agree that 39 states ran their elections under COVID measures?
I don't know that.
They did.
But no.
And then even your boy Mike Pence agrees that the state legislature didn't follow the state election law, rendering those states' elections completely illegal and illegitimate. How?
Ivan, what was your name?
Raiklin, Raiklin. So you don't like my First Amendment sound, and for that, you want me in jail just because I presented options? I'm answering questions.
What
Options?
position did Trump give you?
Yeah, but you asked a
for
couple
your
of questions
slimy
before
actions?
that. So why do you have to be so disrespectful now?
For what?
I'm trying to have a cordial discussion with you, and now you're labeling me with pejoratives
You're the one
that
who
are.
started.
Now you're losing your control. Have some decorum and demeanor, ma'am. You haven't even introduced yourself. When you asked, I introduced myself in a professional, cordial manner, and I'm having discourse here, ma'am.
Can I?
Ivan Raiklin.
Oh, hi, nice to meet you.
What's
Are
your
you
name?
press credentialed with the Senate?
What's your name, ma'am?
I'm Kate.
Kate. Good to meet you, Kate.
Nice to meet you.
I just want to kind of go through the formal pleasantries.
Yes, absolutely. Are you credentialed
Kate?
with the Senate Press Gallery?
I am not. I'm
Okay.
just a First Amendment sound maker.
Absolutely. So if you're going into the hearing room, we don't allow filming
Yeah.
from
Got
anything.
it. Yep.
So that includes phone cameras
Absolutely.
in this setup?
Yeah, I know the rules. Yep.
Okay, absolutely. So
But it's
just
good to
being
reiterate
mindful.
it.
Yeah,
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, we've had people try to bring in like full TV cameras
Yeah.
as the public.
Yeah, you have to go through the process,
Exactly.
the credentialing process.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And we're promoting your live stream.
Okay.
We're trying to get people.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Watch your
Yeah.
sister run.
And if you are trying to get into the hearing room for the hearing, I would join the line
Yeah.
soon before it starts getting too long because we only have about 150 public seats.
Yeah, we're actually in line over here.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you. Absolutely.
Thank you, man.
Yep.
All right, so Ivan Raiklin, you can look it up. If you want to. Why am I here? That's actually a fantastic question. I'm here to kind of see who else is here, to kind of step back and do a landscape analysis of those that are actively here, if they're paid activists or they're here on their own, right? To see which forces, you're here on your own? I respect that. To see which forces are out there to manipulate the psyche of the public and skew it in their favor. And then I look at the media landscape to see who's here reporting on what they're on. It's not only to make money for their organizations, for them to continue to survive, but also what's their agenda.
It was the kids' one. Anyway, so they
So when you know the board members of Criminal News Network, Faux News, MSLSD, Washington Compost, New Woke Slimes, Huffington Compost, etc.,
What's your nickname for Fox News?
Faux News.
Phone news.
Yep, Faux
So
News.
where do you get your news?
So I actually talk to the people directly, whether it's the plaintiff, the defendant in the criminal trials or the civil trials, or the individuals, just like I'm doing here, to get a sense, get the direct evidence instead of using a third-party source that skews and manipulates the information.
So what position did Trump give you?
I don't have any position with President Trump. I am America's Secretary of Retribution, meaning I have a list of 1,400 individuals that I've already investigated and have sufficient predicate and evidence to criminalize, and we're just going to go ahead and drop that evidence with 27 of the 50 states attorneys general and 2,500 of the counties, district attorneys, and I'm motivating them to continue the precedent set by Fonnie Willis in Fulton County, and I'm motivating them to continue the precedent search this up. It's all listed. Your favorite beloved publications have already talked about me. Whether it's the New Woke Slimes, like you said, the Washington Compost calls me the deep state marauder, actually, meaning those criminal actors. Both, by the way, both political parties and all political stripes. I expose government corruption at the very highest level, and it's unfortunate. It's lonely that I'm first.
Do you deal with business corruption?
I only
There's
focused
very
on
little
treason, which
corruption in
you can't conduct.
the federal government workers do is try to prevent corruption by companies and businesses and individuals outside.
I don't discount that exists. It exists at scale. I agree. Like on that, we probably agree wholeheartedly. I'm exposing government corruption. Those former and current government officials at the highest levels that have national
Don't
impact.
say the government, where there's government corruption, it's not.
The
It's a name
massive.
They are trying to set in places, steps in place, regulations in place to prevent corruption. Look at what happened to a lot of the COVID funding that Trump released without any government oversight. It wasn't government that corrupted or defrauded the taxpayers. It was all that funding that went out to.
Here's where I think we will agree, and I don't want to speak on your behalf because let me say this: Mike Pence ran the COVID task force with his buddy Jared Kushner. They were the ones that made the decisions to go ahead and provide top cover for Anthony Fauci and Debbie Birx as they collectively ruined the constitutional order, sent out ventilators that killed people, sent out the orders on remdesivir as they made money hand over fist, as they provided top cover for the Fauci-funded Wuhan lab incident, right? Because Fauci through NAI was the one that funded the Wuhan lab partially, that created the lab incident, whether it was intentional or unintentional. The intelligence community has not come to a conclusion on that. That resulted in ushering 39 states running their elections
Those
unconstitutional.
expert scientists who looked at the genetic analysis done indicates it's most likely came from a wild animal that was not a lab manipulated.
It's actually not. So when you look at the intel community assessment, ma'am, if you look at the intelligence community assessment on the origins of COVID, the initial one even, that was released publicly, unclassified, I urge you to read that. Don't take my words for it. And you read the two hypotheses that came out. The one that the individuals that I mentioned at the FBI and the 51 spies who lied wanted the entire information landscape that you consume, New Woke Slimes and Washington Compost, to make you believe that the second theory, the zoonotic theory, meaning all of a sudden bat soup created it, so that only people could discuss that theory. But the actual theory that theory had a low confidence to it, low confidence,
There's a lot. The
low confidence level,
H1N1
and then
that appeared in China years ago was
the
zoonotic.
moderate level confidence hypothesis talked about that it was a lab incident. In that hypothesis, the statement, it did not specify if it was an intentional or an accidental lab incident. But if you were to speak about that as a prevailing hypothesis, citing the very intel community assessment, the FBI that I mentioned, those individuals, told big tech to censor people from saying that because it exposes them. Yes, ma'am. I know it's hard to accept and reject because you don't know who I am. But if you do a little bit more further deep dive, detailed analysis of the individual players that were involved in the decision making of convincing you to put a face toilet on, convincing you to consume products known as PCR tests, consume emergency use authorized products that are unsafe and ineffective, known as DNA mutilation injections if it was a Pfizer or Moderna variant, or a myocarditis making heart exploding jab such as the J&J version, a traditional quote vaccine that was never approved and produced, then that's what you consume. They totally manipulated folks like you, and I hate that. It's unfortunate that you were duped. Most institutions in our government were duped into accepting these safe and effective products that were never approved.
Do you think Trump is the most corrupt president ever?
No, it's not. What do you think?
Yes.
And why is that? Provide evidence, because that's what you come up with conclusions, but I want to hear your logical analysis and supporting evidence to come to that conclusion. I've presented some of my evidence to lead me to my conclusions. It would be in good faith if you would provide that.
I don't have it right here, but I know that he stiffed many contractors in New York City. He has had 6 bankruptcy filings. He just created this coin, a crypto coin, which is raking in money, and he's the one who's going to profit, and people probably are going to be dropping out or losing from that. Please stop this.
Okay, I'll just film
So,
it.
okay,
I
so
don't know what you're up to.
would you consider yourself?
I'm tired of talking with you, sir. Thank you very
Absolutely. Last question. Would you consider yourself, like, on a scale of 1 to 10? Like, how much TDS do you think you have in today's environment? Trump derangement syndrome.
much. I have no idea what you're talking about.
So it's people that have been duped by the censorship and media industrial complex into believing that Orange Man is so bad that the laws and the Constitution be damned. The main focus is to make sure that you just have Trump derangement syndrome at all costs.
No, I've seen where he's done
Poison
many
your family and-
unlawful acts over the last week and a half that he's been in. Most of them are unlawful. He's trying to usurp power from Congress, which he doesn't have. There's already been some court filings against him.
Again, these are conclusions. I want to hear the evidence to support those conclusions that were spoon-fed to you by the Washington Compost and the New Oaks
If you
Lions.
look at his executive orders, he is clearly, those are stepping outside of the boundaries of the executive office, and it's Congress who has the full power of the purse.
Again, those are conclusions. I don't, like, how are they?
Look at the
Let's tie it back.
Constitution.
Which part of the Constitution do they
I
render
don't
it
have
null and
those off
void?
the top of my head.
So then, how am I? So you're citing yourself, right? How am I?
I'm not gonna
How do you
argue
convince
with
me?
you,
And
sir.
like,
You just go.
I want to hear your logic of, like, you came up with a conclusion. Now, like, explain to me how you came up with that conclusion, other than, like, I attribute it to
Pull up the
TDS.
Constitution on my phone, and where it says Congress.
So which of the
has
27 amendments and the 7 articles are you referencing, so we can tie it back specifically and tether it to the constitutional violations?
I'm done with you, sir. I'll never convince you. I don't know what you're.
I'm trying to discuss in good faith, actually.
No, you're not.
Ma'am, at least thanks for engaging with me.
Like I said,
Ivan
I don't
Raikland.
shake. I don't shake
I
anybody's
respect
hand.
that. I respect that. Okay, but you did tap my shoulder and touched me, so you said you were stiff. So that's on video. So I'm considering that somewhat disingenuous, not to shake hands, because you did
I don't shake
take the
hands.
opportunity to pat me on my shoulder.
Well, apparently your shoulder's probably not as full of germs as you.
Okay, fair enough. I'll accept that. I'll concede to that.
There's a friend that you won't have to convince.
Yeah, I'm a friend. Good to meet you. David Stamato.
Ivan Raikland. Where are
Yeah.
you from, David?
I live in Yardley, PA. I work in New York.
Okay. You here to support cash?
Yes.
Absolutely. Looks like we only have 1 or 2 that don't support cash. Looks like 99.9% are here to support Cash Patel.
Yeah, should be good.
But, these 1 or 2 individuals want to subvert democracy, like they call it, right?
Yeah, I respect
By
their
overpowering the
opinion.
99.9%
Totally
of us.
agree, but I respect their opinion. So, best of luck. Good to meet you.
So, yeah, it's good stuff. Good to meet you.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on.
You want to give a little update for those who just joined where we at, what we're doing?
Yeah, so we are currently right outside of the hearing room where Cash Patel is going to educate the nation. He's going to educate the nation through friendly senators on what his goals are at the FBI. I mean, I don't have any insider baseball here. My analysis is that he's probably going to explain how the previous 4 years and probably last 8 years, what the FBI has been doing to American citizens. What's going on? Ivan Raikland.
Jason Andrew, how are you?
Who are you with, Jason?
Politico.
Politico, huh?
Politico.
It's pronounced Politico in my book.
Okay.
So tell your colleague, let's see here, Kyle. I said hi.
Okay.
So, I mean, please consider pronouncing it correctly, sir. Politico. Okay? So back to what I was talking about. We're live, I guess? Okay, great. So I'm going to say this. I expect during the course of this hearing, you're going to hear on a consistent basis Kash Patel explaining how over the last 10 years, from the beginning of when the pardons by Biden, criminal syndicate leader Joe Biden, he's going to step through and chip away and explain why those pardons go back to the January of 2014 and how the FBI was complicit in providing top cover for the Biden criminal syndicate to usher them in as they coordinated with the 51 spies who lied. There are actually 60, but let's just call it 51 because most people consider it as such. Because remember the story that was pushed out by the New York Post that was spiked by the very individuals at the FBI who Kash is going to know. He might go into the details of who those individuals were as they coordinated and coerced Mark Zuckerberg, who admitted to this, as they coerced and coordinated with Twitter 1.0, Jim Baker, the deputy general counsel there, that was a former FBI general counsel before he went to Twitter 1.0. He's going to go down and list by the numbers, name, date, place, and transgression of those in the FBI that weaponized to take away your rights by censoring information into your feed, to dupe and manipulating into believing that, oh, the jabs are safe and effective. Oh, the 2020 election is the most pristine and secure and safe endeavor that humanity has ever witnessed, is what they convince you through their censorship industrial complex. First Amendment violations at massive scale. Fourth Amendment violations at massive scale, also known as Fourth Amendment gang rape, when people traveled using airlines, commercial airlines, as the TSA just practically nearly strip search individuals for exercising their First Amendment.
Hey, how are you?
I'm still on Jeremy's stuff.
That's Rick Grinnell, former acting director of National Intelligence. He's going to be here, it looks like, in support of Kash Patel. Those two are close. So basically, he's going to list out, he being Kash Patel, from top to bottom, all the actors that were involved in destroying the constitutional order, destroying your Bill of Rights. And he's going to say, well, that's not going to happen under my watch. And here's the plan in order to stop that from happening. Meaning holding every single one of them to account for deterrence purposes so that this can never happen again in America for, at a minimum, several generations. They must, these are my words, these people must be punished to the maximum for at scale violating our First Amendment, our Fourth Amendment, our Fifth Amendment due process rights. So here we go. I really look forward to Kash Patel's testimony because he is the one individual in the country that knows inside and out the entire corrupt scheme from when he was on the staff of Devin Nunes, when he was chair of the HPSC, House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence. He also was the liaison at DOJ with Joint Special Operations Command, going after our hardest global targets. I mean, there's no one more qualified. There's no one that has been more qualified in the history of the FBI to take the helm of the FBI. So there you have it. If you have any evidence contrary to that, please, by all means, send it. But there's not a single person out there that is more eminently qualified to be the director that needs to be in that position now to autocorrect the complete lawlessness that has taken place over the last decade at the FBI. And once that's all cleaned out, then we get to expose all of the other things that the FBI was involved in. COINTELPRO in the 60s, 70s. Going back to 1918, at the beginning of the Bureau investigations, I suspect all of that needs to be looked at, audited, cleansed, in order to restore trust in our institutions. There you have it. Stay tuned.
Raj Dorsami, Coastal Conservative News, and to let them know, make sure you follow Ivan Raiklin, and Ivan Raiklin, people can find you where?
I'm on X,
It's not my favorite.
as well as on Rumble. Those are the two main free speech platforms.
Make sure you follow them, make sure you follow Coastal Conservative News. We will be here all day, sending you more updates. Keep it glued right here.
The only fault in that is great, but Facebook. You see, what's the uniform like NYC police?
He builds it under
I don't see grass. I'm trying to place it as we're looking at each
Get
other.
this. Get this one too.
It was still live.
That's something that happens.
I'll see you in there.
How you doing, sir? Nice to see you, Dan. Nice to see you.
Nice to meet you.
Big day, man. Yes, sir. That's what's the name, sir?
James Doyle. Cheers.
Yes, sir.
Let me know if I mispronounce your name.
Number 10. Imagine. 10th guy director.
Oh yeah. I've been doing. I did the analysis on the previous time.
Yeah.
He's by far the most.
Great.
Really?
Okay, great. All right, so as soon as they finish with the sweep, we'll get you on it.
Thank you very much.
In front of these folks, we'll get you guys in.